Hey everybody, it's Jade with Metabolic Effect. Just a question we had today about female-specific fat loss. And the question was, what do we do as trainers when we're working with females older than 40, after 40 years old, who are having difficulty with losing fat and especially fat gain around the middle? One of the key things to understand is that around the age of 40, 50, up into 60, women begin to start going into premenopause, perimenopause, menopause, this hormonal change that begins to happen that is really key to understanding how to treat them. The major things that occur is estrogen levels fall and progesterone levels fall as well. And so you have both these hormones decreasing, but you also have a relatively larger decrease in progesterone than estrogen. So you get what's known as a relative estrogen dominance despite both hormones falling. So why is this important? The reason it's important is because when you think of estrogen and progesterone, you want to think of insulin and cortisol. Estrogen is anti-insulin. Insulin is the #1 fat-storing hormone. So when estrogen goes away in women, they become far more insulin resistant than they were when they were younger, which means they're far less able to tolerate the same amount of carbohydrates that they once were able to tolerate. This is key because many of these women have been taught that it's just all about low calories. And so what they do when they hit this change is they begin to decrease calories, when really what they need to be doing is specifically focusing on carbohydrates, including fruit and including other insulin generating factors like dairy. So these people need to lower starches, fruit, and even potentially dairy to start seeing the fat loss goals. They can no longer tolerate those foods the way they once did. So when you think estrogen and you think losing estrogen, think difficulty with insulin now. And you're going to have to decrease carbohydrates way more than you would think. The other piece is when you think progesterone, you want to think cortisol. Progesterone is anti-cortisol. So what happens is as progesterone lowers, the influence around the middle, since progesterone is anti-cortisol, what happens is progesterone keeps women from gaining fat around the middle. So when they lose that progesterone influence, cortisol is able to act to a larger degree at the middle. So that also is an issue that you need to take into consideration. And once again, what women are taught is to do long duration, moderate intensity, aerobic zone training. And that's most of what people are doing in group fitness and running marathon programs and things like that. The problem with that is that type of activity raises cortisol, but does not raise the cortisol hormones that block cortisol, like testosterone and growth hormone. And so what women instead want to begin doing at this hormonal change period is they want to move to the extremes of intensity. They want to go very, very low intensity, things like restorative yoga, tai chi, leisure walking, and do those for long periods of time, 1 to 2 hours, and move to more intense, shorter duration exercise. So sprint training, high intensity interval training, metabolic conditioning, 20 to 30 minutes, and really doing shorter intense workouts and longer, more leisure-based workouts, and really cut out that middle stuff. That is going to help control cortisol to a greater degree. And so what happens is you have this interesting thing about estrogen and progesterone and needing to lower carbohydrates and raise protein and fat in this group, but also taking away the aerobic influence and going more high intensity, short duration, and long duration, very, very low intensity. And the final piece is thyroid and adrenal issues really crop up to a greater degree in women as they go through this hormonal change. And so really you want to be doing everything you can to support those. So sleep hygiene is important. Thyroid screening is very important. Make sure you get a full thyroid panel on these people so you can correct any issues with the thyroid. And then also adequate vitamin D status, D as in dog, is really, really important for these women as well. And there's a lot more that goes into this, but those are the big pieces. Cut the carbohydrates drastically, including fruit. They might be healthy, but they're not going to serve the fat loss goals. Move to protein, lean protein sources, and vegetables. Cut out the moderate intensity, long duration cardiovascular stuff and go to short high intensity workouts, 20 to 30 minutes, and long duration, low intensity workouts like leisure walking. That's going to go a long way to helping these clients, and that's where we would start.